So on the drive home from the game, I had a lot of time to sort of sit back and analyse and try and figure out what happened in that Celtic performance, and there's only one sort of conclusion that keeps coming up. Celtic were pish.
Celtic, we are the best team in Glasgow.
What's happening, Celtic family? I hope you're all doing well out there. Well, I hope you're all doing a bit better than you were doing yesterday. Unfortunately for me, I'm still feeling it because this is Sunday night. You will get this obviously on Monday, but this is Sunday night for me, so it's still pretty raw. So I hope that you've woke up today and you're feeling a little bit better. But listen, before we even begin this video, if you could do me a massive favour and hit the subscribe button. I've noticed this morning, I've noticed today when I've came back, that we've managed to gain another 80 subscribers. Thank you so much for all the love. Thank you so much for all the hate, because you can't give all the nice comments and give all the praise for all the love that you get without giving some praise for the people who have took the time out to actually send some hate as well. So I appreciate it, but if you could smash that subscribe button and help me grow this channel. We're trying to get to 2,000, hopefully soon. We're almost there. So I would love to get to 2,000 and try and get to 5,000 by the end of the year. Smash the subscribe button and the like button. It's very much appreciated. Let's get into this video. So it finishes Celtic 2, Rangers 3. And for this, as I try and do on most of them, but I don't always succeed because sometimes I am a bit biased, but this is a Celtic channel. I am a Celtic supporter and sometimes it is very difficult not to be biased. But I'm going to try my hardest to take my green tinted glasses off and just give you my honest opinion on what I saw, because that is all I can do in this channel, is just my opinion and what I seen and how I thought that the game went. Now, to be honest, we have to sort of tip our hat. I know you don't want to. I sure as hell don't want to be saying it. But listen, as I said, let's try and take the green tinted glasses off. And in the first half performance, Rangers were the better team. I thought it was definitely a game of two halves. I thought Celtic were much better in the second half, which we will get into. But I thought in the first half performance, as I said in my pre-match video just before this game, I put a video out, I think it was on Friday, and I talked about a lot would depend on what Celtic team turned up, because I still believe, and I think we all know, Celtic on their day are a much better team than Rangers, right? Maybe that gap is closing. Maybe we don't want to say that, but maybe if you look at the last 3 derby games, they've all been close, or Rangers have beat us. Simple as that. They beat us in January, they beat us today. And you have to sort of stop making excuses sometimes and say that, listen, Rangers played pretty well. And I thought in the first half, Rangers pressed us really high, especially within that first 4 or 5 minutes, and sort of nailed us back, and Celtic could not find a way out of it. And Rangers done a good job of pressing us high. And I know there was a lot of people, as I mentioned in my video, my pre-match video, that people were saying on social media on Friday or even Thursday or even through the week last week that they thought that Rangers would come out and they would play in a low block and try and hit Celtic off the break, off the counter-attack. I didn't believe that, for the simple reason, what is it that Rangers have got to play for? They don't have anything to play for, definitely not domestically. They don't have anything, they can't win anything. So therefore, all they've really got is bragging rights. And Barry Ferguson, being Barry Ferguson, wasn't going to let his team come to Celtic Park, let's be honest, and sit back and just let Celtic press them and then try and hit off the break. So if Celtic fought that for any minute, which I don't think that they did, but if Celtic did think that, then that was a silly way to think, because I always knew, and even on the way down in the car, I had my son in the car and a friend of mine in the car, and he also said, listen, Rangers they're going to go for this. They are going to go for this, and I was under no illusion that Rangers were going to go for it, and that's what they done. That's what they done. They pressed us, and they got the rewards from it. Again, I thought Celtic were really, really sloppy defensively throughout the whole game. Throughout the whole game, I just thought defensively we were really, really poor. And Cameron Carter-Vickers is not a guy that I come on here and say was poor lightly. I don't ever say that, although I have said it against Hibs. I think if you go back and you watch my video, or if you've seen that video, I did say that Cameron Carter-Vickers and Trusty were terrible against Hibs. But I thought Cameron Carter-Vickers today just didn't look himself. I thought he was very nervy, made more than that one mistake at the end when Iggerman scored. He made plenty of mistakes today. I thought the whole team as a whole were just really, really sloppy. Starting from the back, Schmeichel, just his whole, having the ball at his feet, he was just really, really nervous looking. His distribution was just, dare I say it, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Especially in that first half. But the whole team in the first half. Rio Hatate, I forgot Rio Hatate was even playing in the first half. I forgot that he was on the field. But listen, like the whole team. But I just have to mention a few. Luke McCowan. I've came on here, and I am a fan of Luke McCowan. I think that he is going to be potentially a really, really good player for Celtic. I don't doubt that. But today he was awful. Absolutely awful. And the most easiest thing to do and easiest thing to say is hook him. He needs to be taken off. And everybody around me at that game were saying the same thing. It's not happening for him today. It's not how he needs to come off. But then we all asked the question, who comes on? Who do we take on? Who do we put in that position? That just shows you where we are as a team when it comes to depth. We don't have depth in that squad. There was no one to come on there and really replace him. The only thing we could really think of was put Sloot through the middle because he'll do a job in there, and stick Greg Taylor out in the left. That's the only thing that we could think of changing. Because as far as I was concerned, from start to finish, Luke McCowan was extremely poor today. Extremely poor. And I'm trying not to put it all on Luke McCowan, because every player, especially in that first half, were really poor. And there wasn't really anything to talk about through a Celtic point of view. I'm not going to come on and really talk about Rangers. There's plenty of Rangers channels that'll talk about that. But they pressed us really high. They came out and they done all the dirty stuff really, really well. They done all the dirty. I actually listened to Barry Ferguson. Now, I've said on here before, I don't listen to any Rangers content. I do if we're playing them, and I said that in the video. I do if we're playing them, I'll listen to it, but I honestly don't. Somebody said in the comment section, there's no way you don't watch any Rangers content. I generally don't, right? I don't. I don't go out my way to watch any Rangers content. I really don't, unless it involves Celtic somehow. I'm not interested in what their fans have got to say. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm not. It's just me. I'm not interested. But I sat and I listened to Barry Ferguson's sort of pre-match interview or press conference this morning before I went to the game. And he said that Rangers had to start learning how to do the dirty stuff a lot better. And I thought they did today. I thought they'd done a lot of the dirty stuff really well. And Celtic really didn't know how to deal with it. And they didn't know how to deal with their high press. Celtic looked like they were a total fish out of water when Rangers were pressing them high. And going into the first half or going into the second half, in at half time, I absolutely think 100% Rangers deserve to be 2-0 up and possibly even 3-0 up. They played a lot better in the first half, but Celtic came out in the second half like a different team. So Celtic came out the second half, and they did. They looked like a different team. The likes of Arnie Engels, who I wished and just hoped would play in that role of Callum McGregor. And listen, while we're on Callum McGregor was massively missed today. Massively. Now, I know there's been a lot of Celtic supporters going on about Callum McGregor possibly this season not kind of hitting the heights that we do expect Callum McGregor to hit, and that we know that he's more than capable of hitting. I can kind of echo that at times. Like, I thought Callum McGregor, and I've came on here and I've said that I thought that maybe through December and maybe a bit of January, Callum McGregor was a bit off it. But Callum McGregor brings so much calm to that squad. He is a leader, right? And he's the best leader, the only leader within that team. Now, Cameron Carter-Vickers is a phenomenal player. Today, I didn't think he was quite at the races, right? But he is a phenomenal player. We've been so lucky to have him. He normally is that calming presence in the back. But today, I just didn't see any leadership from him at all that would make me think that if Callum McGregor was to somehow leave tomorrow and we needed somebody to come in there and fill that position as captain and leader, to me, going by today's performance and the lack of organisation and being vocal, then for me, Cameron Carter-Vickers wouldn't get it. He wouldn't get that armband. He maybe isn't that type of a guy. I think he's very quiet and humble, but so is Callum McGregor. But he makes himself known. He lets the team know exactly what it is that he wants and what he expects. Just going back to the first half, just for 2 minutes, I know I've kind of skipped back, but there was a point just before Rangers scored their first goal. They had a corner out on the opposite end to the end that they scored at. And Luke McCowan was in there trying to shout and organise the defence at one point. Whereas Cameron Carter-Vickers just stood back and was looking for his man. I thought Celtic were just, sorry to go back again to the first half, but I thought Celtic were just so disorganised. Really disorganised. And when Rangers ran at them, they didn't know what to do. But listen, going back to the second half, Celtic were a bit better. As I said, we definitely missed that leadership from Callum McGregor in the middle of the park. And we all know that a lot of the football goes through Callum McGregor, and he dictates a lot of the play. In the first half, we were looking for Arne Engels to step up to the mark, take on that role. I know that role isn't his role, and he probably finds that a bit strange, so maybe it did just take that first half for him to get into it. But the second half, I thought Arne Engels was brilliant. I thought he was brilliant. I thought even to the point where he's jeering up the crowd. Even after the first goal, and he's getting the crowd lifted, you could tell he fought for everything. He ran at everything. He fought for everything. He looked like he wanted to go out there and really grab the game by the balls and make a difference. And I thought Arne Engels was great. I thought Rio Atati, again, was just sort of was pretty missing throughout that whole game. I know he scored. I know he got the second goal for Celtic. But for me, he didn't do much other than that. There was plenty of times within that game I genuinely forgot that he was playing. A lot of you might see it differently, but I just thought that he was really, really quiet. I didn't think he had a bad game. I didn't think he had a good game. I just thought he had a really, really, really quiet game. I thought making the change at half-time to see Adam Idah come in through the middle was probably the right decision. To mix it up a bit, to get somebody who's got a big physical presence up there at the front to try and make a target man, because we all know how good Daizen Maeda is, and we all want to see Daizen Maeda play through the middle, because I think he has really proved his point there through the middle. But today, Rangers kind of stifled his attacks or anything that he was trying to do. They kind of stuck really, really close to him and made it really, really difficult for him. Don't get me wrong, he peels away from anybody because he's so fast. But we just he wasn't getting the service that I think that would have really made a difference. He got more of a service out out in the wing, and I think it made a massive difference. Now, when Adam Idah came on, I didn't think Adam Idah was particularly great. I really didn't. I thought sometimes the ball came in, he took the ball down, he held it reasonably well, but kind of lost it a lot of the time. But having him as a presence, and not only does Adam Idah have a presence, but he pulls defenders away to try and create more gaps. And you started to see that in the second half. There was gaps opening up, and with Maeda coming in, getting us back to 2-1, and Rio Hatate getting us back to 2-2, you were seeing that Celtic was just starting to get a wee bit more belief. Now, I thought Celtic basically controlled that great game in the second half. Rangers controlled the game in the first half, and I thought Celtic controlled the game in the second half, and we definitely deserved to get to 2-2. I believe that. I believe that Celtic worked hard enough to get to 2-2. They started playing with a bit of belief, where it actually looked like the only team that was going to go on and win it was Celtic. I mean, Butland pulled off a couple of great saves from Rio Hatate. I remember a couple of times we just dragged it past the post. I thought Celtic were the team that were in the ascendancy, and the team in that second half that looked like they were going to not only pull back from being 2-0 down to being 2-2, but go on and get a third. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And that's the game. That's the game, people. That sometimes when you don't take the chances that you've got there in front of you, what can happen? The other team can go up the other end of the park and they can score. And that's what happened. The ball came in, and don't get me wrong, Alistair Johnston's had a slip. He's had a slip. It's been an accident. And Igaman, listen, class finish. What a finish. And what a time to get it. You've only got about 3 or 4 minutes to go. What a time to get it. Great goal. But listen, as a whole today, I just thought Celtic looked very disjointed. Very disjointed. Very unorganised. You know, when that starting 11 came up and you seen that Trusty was out, Cal McGregor was out, I'm not going to lie, I turned round to my mate and I went, this changes everything. And he agreed. This changes everything. And listen, and I thought that because Narovski came in, and Narovski's played about 20 minutes this season. But I thought Narovski for Celtic was probably the best player on the park. I thought he was brilliant throughout the whole game. He's one of the ones that only get a pass mark for me. And probably Sloop. I thought Sloop was brilliant. And Daiza Maeda, right? The three of them probably all get pass marks for me. The rest of the team just weren't good enough. Schmeichel, as I said, just his distribution, his playing the ball at his feet was just horrendous. Absolutely awful. Johnston out on the right-hand side, I just thought was shocking today. And I don't say that lightly, because I think Johnston's been absolutely fantastic for us. I really do. But I thought he was terrible today. I thought Cameron Carter-Vickers just didn't really have a great game at all. I thought Dessers actually bullied Carter-Vickers a few times. I thought he really imposed his strength on Cameron Carter-Vickers, and we all know how solid Cameron Carter-Vickers is, but I thought Dessers actually gave him a run for his money today. And I thought Narovski was brilliant. I thought Narovski was good. I thought throughout the whole game he had a brilliant game, and that is definitely somebody that I was worried about when I seen the starting lineup. Not for the simple fact that I didn't think he was a good player, because I don't know what the situation is with Narovski, but any time that he has played for Celtic, I've been more than happy with his performance. And I thought he was brilliant throughout, but I was just panicking a wee bit because I know he's not had a lot of game time, only about 20 minutes throughout the whole season. And then Sloop on the left, I thought had a good game. Arne Engels in the middle, I thought the first half he was pretty bad, but I thought the whole team was. Second half, a lot better. I thought Luke McCowan was not particularly great throughout the whole game. I thought he played so many sloppy passes. He just couldn't get into his rhythm today. And again, I like Luke McCowan. I genuinely believe that guy is going to be a great player for Celtic. But today, just not at the races. Rio Atati, for me, may as well not been on the park. I'm glad that he was, because he got the second goal. So thank fuck he was on the park. But listen, for most of that game, apart from the goal, then he may as well not been on the park. I thought he was terrible. I thought Jota tried his hardest. Just couldn't find, didn't get the service that we thought he might. But when he did get the ball, he tried to create as much as possible, tried to run at defenders, tried to beat defenders as much as possible. I thought Jota played a half-decent game for the service that he got. Maeda, I thought, was brilliant. I thought Maeda was brilliant, but Maeda is always brilliant. You know what you're getting with Maeda. You know what you're getting with him. Kuhn, I thought, was really, really quiet. Couldn't get into the game at all. And any time he got the ball, he just passed it back to Cameron Carter-Vickers. Just passed it back to him every time. Now, I'm not going to go into why we keep passing the ball back. We've already heard Brendan Rodgers. We've already spoke about it 101 million times that we're starting a new attack. But there were so many times within that game today that ball did not need to go backwards. Didn't need to go backwards. Play the ball forward. Run at the defence. Didn't need to go backwards. It went backwards. I think somebody said to me at the game that there was a point in time where we played 3 passes and from the corner, we were taking a corner, we played 3 passes and the third pass went back to Schmeichel. For me, we need to be getting on top of this. I get it. I get the whole idea of playing it back and restarting. But for me, it doesn't need to happen all the time, and it was happening way too much. Johnston was another one who kept doing it, kept playing the ball backwards. So for me, Kuhn didn't really have a good game, and I thought when Yang came on, Yang has been doing what Yang's been doing when he's been coming off the bench, making an impact, and I would have took him on earlier. I think Brendan Rodgers got a few things wrong today. I don't know why he didn't try and figure something out with Luke McCowan, because everybody could see from the first half performance that he needs to come off, because it wasn't his day at all. So I don't know, it's a frustrating game, because once you get to 2-2, it's just about holding on to it. If you're not going to win it, just do not lose it. And that's the frustrating thing. It's more frustrating than that game in January, because that game in January we were just absolutely destroyed because Celtic were terrible. But in this game, we actually managed to pull it back to 2-2 and still get beat. And listen, Igaman's goal was an absolute cracker, and it was from a mistake from Celtic, from Johnston slipping and Carter-Vickers just not doing enough. But all their goals were sort of lapses in concentration from the defence. It can't be happening. That's 9 goals Rangers have scored against us in the past 3 derbies. It's not good enough. It is not good enough. But listen, as I said, taking the green tinted glasses off, I thought Rangers deserved to win today. I thought they deserved to win, and that sounds like I'm totally contradicting myself because I said that it was a game of 2 halves. But it was a game of 2 halves. Rangers played better in the first half, Celtic played better in the second half, but Rangers took probably the only sort of chance that they had in the second half, and they scored from it. And ultimately, that's what wins you games. When you take your chances, you put them in the back of the net, that's what happens. But listen, a disappointing performance, a disappointing result. But I know a lot of people will say, doesn't matter because the league's over, we're still on for the treble, and all that is correct, and I get it. But you don't want to be losing these games. I don't care what side of the city that you're supporting, whether you're Celtic, whether you're Rangers. You know fine well, when it comes to these games, you don't want to be losing them. You want to win these games. We might have been 16 points clear before the start of this, but we could have been 19 points clear and we could have beat our rivals. But we didn't. We move on and we go on to play Hearts next weekend, and we need a big result and a big reaction, and I'm pretty sure we'll get it. And it's just sort of put a sort of spanner in the works and put a wee bit of a pause on the inevitable when Celtic will become champions again. But listen guys, that is it from me. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. But if you didn't, thank you very much for wasting your time. Please remember to subscribe. Thank you to all of you for showing all your love, all your support and subscribing.